These days, the word ISIS conjures up images of religious extremism, state-sponsored terrorism, and human rights violations. But back in the mid-70s, it was associated with something much more benign. The superhero Isis, played by Joanna Cameron, paved the way for superpowered TV heroines. Isis, which was later renamed The Secrets of Isis, debuted in September of 1975, months before Wonder Woman and the Bionic Woman. In this video, we're not only going to take a closer look at the Secrets of Isis series, but we'll also give you an overview of the life and career of Joanna Cameron. Joanna Cameron's introduction to show business. Joanna Cameron was born September 20th, 1951 in Vail, Colorado. Her father was a truck driver and her mother taught English at a local elementary school. Cameron grew up watching a lot of TV with her mother, but she didn't start to dream about becoming an actress until she was in high school, and she started appearing in school plays. She then enrolled at the University of California. In college, she befriended Linda Hope, daughter of Bob Hope. When she got the chance to meet the famed comic, he cast her in the film How to Commit Marriage in 1969. This eventually led her to land roles in a series of films and TV shows throughout the 70s. Cameron was at one time even considered for the love story role that eventually went to Ally McGraw. She next appeared in the 70s films B.S. I Love You and the black comedy Pretty Maids All in a Row. Her TV credits included roles in The Bold Ones, The New Doctors, Columbo, and a few episodes of Marcus Welby, M.D. Cameron also enjoyed a prolific career doing commercials, and for a while she claimed to hold the record for having done the most commercials in the Guinness Book of World Records. According to Merv Griffin, if all of her 60-second commercials were pieced together, it would amount to 150 hours of programming. A science teacher with an alter ego. In 1975, Cameron was cast in the role of Isis on The Secrets of Isis, partly because the show's producers were looking for a fit, athletic, all-American type, and Cameron fit the bill. The Secrets of Isis was a live-action superhero series that ran on CBS during their Saturday morning lineup. Since it predated both Wonder Woman and the Bionic Woman, Cameron was the first female TV superhero to appear in a leading role. Isis was the alter ego of Andrea Thomas, a high school science teacher who uncovered the Tutmosis amulet while she was taking part in an archaeological dig in Egypt. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. And stay tuned to find out what Joanna Cameron went on to do after Secrets of Isis was canceled. Secrets of Isis's cast had impeccable chemistry. Isis benefited from having a well-chosen supporting cast. Brian Cutler was excellent as the handsome yet goofy husband of Cameron's Isis. Joanna Pang played the cute and spunky Cindy Lee. She was a great addition to the cast for the show's first season, but unfortunately she wasn't invited back for the second. Season 2 did, however, feature an endearing character named Renee Carroll, played by Ronaldo Douglas, that filled the void Pang's absence left. Chances are, if you grew up during that period when Isis ran, you probably loved the array of supporting players that the series featured. Magic jewelry gave her superpowers. The amulet Miss Thomas found in Egypt originally belonged to Queen Hatshepsut, whose headdress bore a striking resemblance to Hathor, an Egyptian goddess. And since the science teacher was a direct descendant of Hatshepsut, she had some kind of predestined connection to the amulet. If the amulet was exposed to the sun, and Miss Thomas invoked the name of Isis, she was granted the powers of the animals and all the elements. Thomas wore the amulet around her neck as a necklace and would present it while uttering the words, "My mighty Isis," whenever she needed to use her powers. Whenever she transformed into Isis, she looked like a hodgepodge of a tennis pro and an ancient Egyptian deity. To use her superpower heroes, she would utter a rhyming couplet. If she wanted to fly, she'd say something like, "O zephyr winds which blow on high, lift me now so I can fly." Isis's powers were pretty varied. They could be rather run-of-the-mill superhero powers, like summoning super strength or the power of flight, or they could be a bit more exotic, like gaining the power to walk through walls, making objects disappear and reappear again, or turning back the sands of time. Teaching a lesson while saving the day. The science teacher had the uncanny ability to save the world whenever she invoked the spirit of Isis to become the miniskirt-clad hero. And she did her best to save teens from certain doom so they could learn a lesson. Differing from other superheroes, when Thomas was not in her Isis form, she still possessed one power. She had a telepathic connection with her pet crow, Tut. Speaking of which, they actually used a live crow, and Cameron reportedly didn't care for the animal all that much. Whenever she wasn't Isis, her amulet still had some power as well. Or at least it did the time it reflected light and restored the memory of a person who had amnesia. At the conclusion of every episode, to ensure the audience learned a lesson, Isis would reiterate it. Every now and then, she would join forces with Captain Marvel, and she appeared in 3 episodes of Shazam. The character of Isis later appeared in a cartoon called Tarzan and the Super 7, but Isis's voice was provided by voice actress Diane Pershing. Not every hero wears a cape. After 2 seasons and 22 episodes of playing Isis, Cameron eventually had to hang up her amulet. After it was canceled, she didn't do much acting. Doing a kitschy Saturday morning kids show didn't exactly make producers interested in casting her in their projects. Seeing as she got her start in big screen efforts like Pretty Maids All in a Row and BS I Love You, playing a children's TV character must have been a bit of a letdown. Considering that, an enormous amount of credit should be given to Cameron for infusing the show with a sense of seriousness and just the right amount of laughter. For a time, she took a stab at directing. She directed films for the Navy and briefly hosted the Navy Network. She also hosted the documentary Razor Sharp, which was about the Blue Angels. In 1978, she was a guest on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Her final acting role before she retired was in the TV film Swan Song in 1980. After saying goodbye to Hollywood, Cameron worked in home healthcare for about a decade, which is fitting considering some of the most heroic work that people can do is providing in-home healthcare for people in need. After working in that field, she then worked for 2 hotels doing marketing while living in Hawaii. While she hasn't worked in the entertainment industry in decades, Cameron says she would consider making a comeback if the right opportunity came her way. Joanna Cameron's hobbies and interests. Her primary hobby is traveling. When she was an actor, her career took her all around the country. She's also been to several European nations like Italy and France. She's also a huge animal lover, and big cats are her favorite. She has 2 pet cats and volunteered at an animal shelter many times as a teen. In her free time, she enjoys watching movies. Her favorite actors are Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts, and some of her favorite films are Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, and Notting Hill. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you ever watch The Secrets of Isis? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.